Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. This is going to be a brief video, inshallah. Shout out to the brother, man, that reached out to me and apologized for arguing in the comments with the other brother that made me have to delete the video that only had like 5 views. The Ashri brother did. The one who was getting blatantly disrespectful. So I appreciate that. And then even the brother who asked me to do the video, like wallahi, this type of stuff show good character to me. Like when I hit him up and told him I had to delete the video because the arguing carried over from one video into the comments of that one. Wallahi, even him, he was like, man, I apologize for, I didn't mean to ask a question, man, was gonna cause some fitna. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, it wasn't you. You know what I'm saying? It was just an argument that had carried over from the video before. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, people be funny, man. I probably shouldn't even mention this, but look, somebody else said to me that they had listened to the video and they didn't hear anybody arguing and fighting in the video, which I do admit, and that's why I say sometimes I have slips of the tongue. I did say in the second video when I talked about it, I did say it was arguing in the video, but the video before, when I first said I had to delete it, I made it clear that they broke out arguing in the comment. Like if people was arguing in the video that bad and cussing and all that, I never would have posted it. But it was in the comments. You know what I'm saying? And like for the people who the video be like I had to delete 2 videos because people was arguing in the comments. For the people who was that first video though, man, that video was up to about around 50, it was like 50 around 50 comments by when I went ahead and deleted it. You had a dude from the Mu'tazila, I think he had a little Shiite in him, he was in there. The Quran dude, which was one of them that was arguing in the second video. Him and the brother was basically in the same area or close to each other. It was crazy, man. But the Ashri dude, like he reached out and apologized. He was trying to get me to repost it, but because he heard some of it and it had some benefit in it. But I do realize, like I told the other brother, I had mentioned some things speaking on the refutation that I didn't want them, the Ashris, to use as ammunition against the Salafis that they be arguing with. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I appreciate the brother, man. He reached out and, apologized. Like, man, I ain't mean to get disrespectful like that in the comments. But like I said, man, it's just some people, man, just, well, I watched the whole video. I ain't never hear no fighting and cussing and people like that in the video. It's like, man, But I can't fault them because I said that, but they have selective hearing. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm saying something that may be similar to them, they'll feel like I'm telling the truth about them. But if I'm talking about something that don't involve them, they'll say that I'm lying. Like, they just have selective hearing, man. But alhamdulillah, no disrespect to the brother, man. No disrespect to him. But like he said, I watched the whole. Well, he didn't say he watched the whole video. He actually said he was watching it because it was a long video, and he paused it to go do something, or he came back to try to watch it and they said the video had been removed. He didn't know what was going on, but and he was like, well, I watched it, but and even like right now with me just repeating what he said, you didn't even watch the whole entire video. So what if you didn't get to the part where the cussing was in it? But like I said, if you thought that's what I was saying, but no, it wasn't in the video. It was in the comments. But anyway, the brother asked me to read the hadith from Aisha. He don't have books of hadiths. and he didn't know how to word it to look it up on the internet. So I'm gonna read him one version. I'm gonna read it from Sunan Nasa'i, right? The verse, the hadith that I was referring to that went with the Quran ayat about the pleading woman. So it says, and this is what is gonna be considered an athar, right? Because it's from Aisha, not like the Rasul told me or I heard the Rasul say. So when you have a hadith that's coming from a companion like that, they are considered to be athar, which means narration, and that's where, like the atharis or athari, some people say athari, some say athari, right? The athari creed, like I was explaining in the other video, that's where it came from. The creed is the narration. That's our foundation. That's our principle that we gonna stand on. We gonna live and die by. I need some type of text to go with it. And I'm Atharian creed. That's why, like, I'm always saying, even if you're gonna change the meaning of something or you feel like something new in this, you gotta show me in a dictionary. Like, show me something, not just what somebody said. You know, when it's coming to a form of debate, and the creed is actually based off of a Quran ayat where it says when people dispute, refer back to Allah and His Messenger. Right? You refer back to Allah and His Messenger. Being that we don't have the messenger around, we got to go to the Quran and the Hadiths. You see what I'm saying? But now, nowadays, when people have a dispute, they refer back to their favorite personalities. You know what I'm saying? So, like, even if you have a whole foundation built off of Kalam, that's not based off of Quran and Sunnah or based off of the wording of the Quran and Sunnah, but the Rasul never said these things, then, you know, it's not dalil. It's not dalil that a person has to act in accordance with. That's just some type of dalil or proof for why you believe what you believe. That's not something in accordance with Sharia that we have to take. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said again, man, I appreciate both of the brothers. You know, even though I told the one brother, man, you ain't got to worry about it, man. You didn't cause the problem. You know, it just carried over from the video before. And like the name of the video was like refutations. Are they refutations in this time? Are they helping or harming? Something like that. I don't remember, but it didn't get to stay up long. Like I said, man, they acted a fool in the comments, man. For real. And I hate to see non-Muslims, whether they call themselves a form of a Muslim, and to see that type of stuff in the comments and then they use it. Because like right now, these Christians and Hebrew Israelite guys, man, all over the internet, you can watch videos all day long where they call themselves tearing down Muslims, and then you will see like some of them will use clips of Muslims arguing, and they use that like to say little stuff like the Muslims don't even understand their own Quran, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. And wallahi, like, dude had a live one time and I got on it because he was saying some things, but it was a comment that he made in there, and he was saying to like one of the people who be on his side, wallahi, dude said it was a time when we used to say this stuff and the Muslims used to be able to defend it. Like, basically, you know, they would back us down. But he was like, now the Muslims today, now they just kind of like, yeah, like whatever. They don't know how to defend it. You know, I was just, and I ain't gonna lie, it did something to me. You know what I'm saying? So I just kind of hate when I know the type of people who in my comments, and then I see like the Hebrew Israelites who subscribe, and then like the couple of Ashris who make the real long comments, and then like the people who come in and be talking about the Jesus is Lord and all that, these be individuals who watch Muslim videos because they really doing it for content. So when they see some weaknesses and different things like that, you turn around and see them using it in debates. Like even the brother Najib, the pure Islam guy that I was talking about, he just did a video the other day because he said a Hebrew Israelite, somebody contacted him because one of the Salafi dudes, now listen to this, this is a Salafi guy from the Salafis that don't like nobody. The brother hit him up talking about one of the Salafi dudes feel like he might be an apostate because one of the Hebrew Israelites hit him with some type of stuff, and it basically shook him to his core. Like he feel like an apostate, like I can't defend what he said. And he basically, he's, you know, the Hebrew Israelite dude was just basically like how slavery in America proved that we the real Jews and all this other stuff, and he was trying to use some Bible verse. So Najib had to come out and make a video to debunk that theory and to help the brother. But that's what he said, man, and that's what I'm saying, man. These cats, they coming and shaking people to their foundation, and I'm expecting this because, like I said, man, it's Roger, Shaitan is busy, man, because Ramadan coming and he finna be locked up, and he do little things to create tension between Muslims, and then they'll carry that into Ramadan. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I say, man, you know, you hear them Salafis, man, with that rhetoric and all that type of stuff, man. But I'm telling y'all, man, a lot of them, man, wallahi, I know so many Salafis, man, that was involved in that side. They gone, man. They gone. Sisters and everything, man. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, they still consider themselves Muslim. But like I said, them Salafis tore down so many other people. And now that they seeing the stuff in them, now they don't know they don't know where to turn. They don't know who to listen to. They don't know who to talk to. They don't know who to be friends with. But because I was a person who, you know, like when it comes to the internet, or like some people who I never met in person, but we always been cool on through Facebook or social media, my relationship with all of them is really exactly the same, unless I'm like a real wakil, or we do something where I'm teaching them something. Like we might not talk for a whole year, and then we might end up, something might happen, and then we might end up talking for a month. Then we don't. Then another year might pass, maybe 2 years might pass, and something happen. Or throughout the year or a couple of years, they may hit me up. You know, if it's a sister, this brother told me this, is this true? I seen an argument in this group I'm in, and nobody could have the dalil. Can you give me the dalil? And then they might ask me a question, then I answer it or send them the dalil. But that be the relationship with pretty much all of them, unless I'm their personal wakil, where I know them outside of Facebook and they just know me on Facebook. Like some of them don't even be my Facebook friend. Wallahi, they just hit me up on Messenger. But or they'll hit me up on my phone. You see what I'm saying? So like that's just how I be, man. So I be in and out with a whole lot of people. You know what I'm saying? But some, because the only reason why I'm mentioning that, because, and I shouldn't have to, I'm mentioning it on here because they took it personal when I said sometimes we may talk for 3 years, we may not talk for 3 years, then we may talk for a month, and then another 3 year pass. They took it personal when it wasn't a direct shot at them. That's just how it is with a lot of people. It ain't nothing personal. It ain't like we have beef. But the funny thing is, because they said something to me, because I used the words, sometimes we don't stop talking, all of a sudden they take it like it's a breakup or something. You know what I'm saying? So by them responding to me, I'm sitting down saying, wait a minute, man, why would you take it that way? But anyway, let me get into this hadith, man. So again, that's just a disclaimer, man. It's like, quit taking stuff personal, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't gonna go into it. So look, this hadith, it was narrated from Aisha that she said, praise be to Allah who hearing encompasses everything and all voices. As in, nothing escapes Allah's hearing. Allah hears every single thing. Just like the Quran ayat where Allah says, even if a leaf or something fall from a tree, no matter where it is, Allah knows it. But not only do Allah know it, if it make a sound, Allah is going to hear it. You know what I'm saying? So like she said, praise be to Allah who hearing encompasses everything and all voices. Nothing escapes Allah's hearing. Nothing. That's why, like, even in the video where I said Allah can hear the blood flowing through a well in a deep ocean or in a deep in the waters in Alaska, but at the exact same time could hear an ant and a beetle crawling through a forest in South Africa. You see what I'm saying? Nothing. Allah hearing encompasses everything. So by her making this type of statement, she's referring to the type of hearing that we hear, but our hearing has a deficiency. Not like they don't say Allah hear without sounds, Allah doesn't have hear. They never did none of that. This type of stuff started coming later on after people started throwing these type of things in. And I didn't really want to say this, but they not coming with any pushback. To be honest with you, they accepted the attribute but still deny it at the same time. Because due to losing debates and the athletes putting belt on them, they could no longer deny, okay, we got to accept the seeing, we got to accept the hearing, right? We got to accept the face, we got to accept the hand, we got to accept hands, right? We got to accept speech, but we're just going to accept them by name only. We're going to turn it and add something else to it, so to where we're accepting that Allah said these things about Himself, but we're going to change the meanings into something else. So really, they accepted it without accepting it. And I was trying to say that in a pretty way. But when you really think about it, that's what it is. We're going to accept that attribute, but at the same time, we're still going to deny it and just say it means something else. That's why, like, when we don't say Allah's face is a human face and they automatically throw it on us like that, the reason why they do that because we won't change the meaning. You see what I'm saying? So that's why they do it. So like when you look at this hadith and if you go through and look at how the Rasul and the companions, the way they understood it the way that it should be understood. They didn't do all of this extra stuff and turning it into something else. You know what I'm saying? They didn't accept it but deny it at the exact same time. So as it continues, she says, Hawla came to the messenger of Allah complaining about her husband. Right? I was sitting in a room. Right? And I could not hear what she said. I heard some words, but I couldn't make out what she was saying. Then Allah the Mighty and Sublime revealed, indeed Allah has heard the statement of her that disputed with you concerning her husband and complains to Allah, and Allah hears the argument between you both. So when you see there is also some narrations that throw in that she said, Aisha was like, threw in that like, I couldn't hear Allah. I'm sitting in the next room and I couldn't hear what they say, but Allah was able to hear it clearly from above the heavens, above his throne, from where Allah is. He was able to hear it, and I'm in right here in the next room, and I couldn't hear it. So that right there is still referring to it as a type of hearing that we have, except for the deficiency on our hearing, but the superiority on Allah Azza wa Jal hearing, because she's sitting in one room and couldn't hear it. So that was a deficiency. But Allah, from where Allah is, Allah was able to hear it. Even for the people who say Allah is somewhere, but it's not a place, he still heard it from there. Even if they want to say he heard it without any sound or whatever, he still heard it. But she's not saying none of that. She's saying his type of hearing, nothing is going to escape it. Allah can't hear sounds because we can hear sounds. All this other stuff. But all you got to do is go to the Athar. And for like some of the Salafis, and like it's pure Islam, not G. Because see, like when I hear videos, and because of the stuff that I know, and for how long I've been around and been in the mix, that was the thing that caught my mind the most. That a brother hit him up and was like, one of the Salafis, man, was listening to one of the Hebrew Israelites ran up on him, and now the brother talking about he think he might be an apostate. But they have all this strong, we the best, we the only ones you can listen to, nobody know nothing but us, and all this other stuff. But then it takes some little simple thing, some Hebrew Israelites who can't even interpret that changed up, rewritten Bible, and put them back on track. I mean, and take them off track. And see, this is why I say individuals don't be understanding hadiths when they scream all that Salafi stuff. Why ain't you do what the Salaf do? And I give them a little jewel. Well, not like he hearing me, but like for some of the new Salafis, because I want to advise some of y'all, learn how to be Athari before you learn how to be Salafi. Alright? That's going to save you from being a whole lot of rhetoric. Learn how to be Athari before you start learning the Minhaj. And like these like when I said when I study Minhaj, I was studying biographies to pick it up. And like me showing this book right here, this was a way for me to get Minhaj on how to implement the Salaf as-Salih with these 12 strong mountains of knowledge. A short biography of them. I studied biographies. I can show y'all some more. This not just this. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm looking for the Minhaj. I'm seeing how they dealt with things, even arguing and debating and differing, and how they started off one way and then they ended up another way. Just like some of us were strong Christians in church, Bible studies, all of that. You couldn't tell us nothing about no Jesus. Somebody say something, not my Jesus. They believe Jesus was white, blue-eyed, blonde hair, whatever a picture looked like. But then when people started to get a little blackness, and then people started to point out they was Bible thumpers, but then they may have heard some black person with some righteousness that was like, look, I heard Malcolm X point out in the Bible, it says he had brass feet and hair like wool. Now that shook him a little bit. Oh my goodness. So maybe he's not white. But that's still not enough for you to put that thing down. So my point is, some of us was real strong Christians. Knew that Bible, listened to gospel music, and I'm saying this because I know people. And I know a brother, he was real strong like that. One of my guys, man, I had a lot of love for the dude, man. He went out like a soldier, right? Killed himself. But he accepted Islam, but he didn't want to accept everything that come with Islam, so he tried to become a Moorish American. Plus, being Moorish American made him black and a Moorish American, and he could still drink, have girlfriends. You know, this is my way of being Muslim and still doing everything that I already do. So then he went to jail and bumped into some Hebrew Israelites. But his problem was, although he kept leaving the Bible, it never left out of his heart. And that's what I'm saying about those teachings. They figured out a way to, okay, I'm going to accept this part, but I'm not really going to accept it. So by us looking at ourselves, and like I said, this is some of the things that I seen by looking at them, how they changed positions. We also did it if we came from Christianity, but the problem is some of us still don't really leave the Christianity. We might still live like it. Like, we know that we got to pray 5 times a day, and I know Muslims who do this. We got to pray 5 times a day, right? But they don't pray, but they'll still make dua because that was the praying as a Christian. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they ride and the road slipping, oh Allah, this, and this, but they're not going to make salah. You know what I'm saying? Somebody in their family gets sick. Allah help me. You know what I'm saying? Bismillah in the name of Allah, this, but they're not going to make salah. So they still Christian in actions. Possibly a little bit more Christian than they is Muslim. So when you can look at that and then you look at some of their lives, you can see they did the same thing. Just like when I was explaining in the biography of Abu Bakr, when I went to look to that, that was the first thing that started to happen, and I had it on the board. The people who could never get out of their heart what was in it before they became Muslim, they was the ones who turned and became a problem for Abu Bakr, because that stuff never really truly got out of their heart. So that's why, you know, we really need to get some of that, what we had in us before us, out of our heart, man. But like that brother, because he couldn't get that out of his heart, and now he want to come at me, you know. I seen him about 5-6 years later because he went to prison. Now he a Hebrew Israelite, and he was wearing shirts with tassels and stuff on them. So I looked at him and I said, you just couldn't put that Bible down, could you? He was like, he admitted to, because this is my people. He was like, no. I said, so what if you start doing research again and find out that that Bible really is about white people and not black people? There's parts of it that's about black people. There's parts of it about other different races of people. What you gonna do then? And wallahi, he said, if I find that out, I'm gonna put it back down again. See, we just can't quite stop chasing something black, man. We want some type of religion that ties to something black. And I'm gonna tell y'all a jewel, man, that I heard. I be watching this podcast, right? And it's 2 black Masons. Well, it generally be 3 black Masons and a 5%er who became, he came into the Masonic Lodge, but he didn't stay long enough to get his 3rd degree because it was weird, you know what I'm saying, to him. So he quit, but so he got like his he got his 2nd degree. What is it? Enter the apprentice. But anyway, I be watching them and they be having special guests on. So out of them, one of them is, so you got the 5%er, then you got the one who came up in the Christian background, and then you got the other one who's a Moorish American, but like he's the real one. He's like the national secretary, where he's tied into the charter and everything. He got his lodge, and he even got his own Masonic temple, right? And then the other one is kind of like into African Egyptian beliefs, right? But they are Masons. So anyway, they brought a dude from the Nation of Islam who's a minister, strong minister for the Nation of Islam, named Eric Muhammad. So they had him and the Moorish American dude to I guess they thought they was going to debate and it was going to turn into sparks, but they realized they see eye to eye on a lot of stuff. But the Nation of Islam dude had a real jewel. He was talking about when the Ku Klux Klan reached out to Elijah Muhammad. And for anybody who familiar with the meeting that Malcolm X and Yusuf Shaw, I think it was, the meeting they had with the Ku Klux Klan, which they were saying the Ku Klux Klan had a meeting with them, really supporting them because they wanted separatism. We need guys like y'all who able to clean up these black people so that they don't be robbed and they don't get to the point where they start being violent with us, and y'all keeping them to the point to do something to themselves so we don't have to hire them at our jobs, so we don't have to feed them in our restaurants. But he said that when dude wrote the letter to Elijah Muhammad, he said in the letter, he said the Ku Klux Klan dude told them, it's no surprise to us that you guys are starting to accept Islam, because Islam is a nigger's religion. You know what I'm saying? He said Islam is a nigger's religion. Everywhere on the continent where black people accepted Islam, they changed for the better. Where they accept Christianity, they basically became subservient. You know what I'm saying? Basically, a good old boy still up under our thing. You know what I'm saying? But under Islam, it was like, you put your hands on me, you gonna find out I ain't like them. And the way they started to take certain parts of Africa, like they said, Africa had a whole lot of different things going on, but Islam is what united Africa. And when you look at the areas and they started setting up their own governments and pushing them Christians and stuff up out of there. Like a lot of people talk about Idi Amin and some of the stuff that he did. Idi Amin was Muslim. He was pushing that line. Now I ain't gonna say he was perfect. He had some things going on. But see, Idi Amin was pushing that line on the Kufar. But when he said that, and I was like, wow. But then when you really look at it, we can't look at the deficiencies of the people. But when you see the Muslims who really clean themselves up and practice their deen the way that they do, and it's able to affect the change within the community, you don't see a good slave kumbaya trying to live the white man's dream black person. But, and I'm not saying all Christians, but when you see them and they able to affect change, they really just chasing money. You know what I'm saying? And like dude said, Eric Muhammad said this, that the Ku Klux Klan dude wrote a letter and had this stuff in a letter. And wallahi, I just watched this podcast, like, if it wasn't last weekend, it was the weekend before. So like I said, man, I watch a lot of stuff. I stay in tune with it. And I see how Muslims, man, they on shaky grounds, man, with they deen, man. Nicholas Irving, they refer to him as the Grim Reaper. He was a sniper for the United States Army. And a lot of his deployment where he did a lot of sniping, he a black guy, he got dreads real smooth, down to earth, right? He had to snipe. The majority of his deployment was against Muslims. He was even on the raid when they ran up in the compound to get Osama bin Laden. I think he said he was on the Saddam Hussein when they went and found him in the hole. But like he was part of the group, but not to really go in too much into it. But listen what he said. And I knew he wasn't lying because I'm for where I even spoke of it in one of my videos about how in Afghanistan they got these guys, they refer to them as the dancing boys. The Arabic name for him, Bachi, a Bachi boy or whatever. The name is it's Bachi boy, something like that. But dude said they was asking him about Afghanistan. And he was talking about how beautiful Afghanistan is. And the Muslims over there, and wallahi, dude said, the thing about Afghanistan is this. The men are for pleasure, and the women are for giving birth. The men over there, these Muslim countries, so-called the Talibans and ISIS and some of these other groups, they only messing with women that have kids and to have babies and raise them. He was like, when you go into these bars, instead of calling them Bachi boys, he said they call them T-boys. And you go to these places and they have these little boys and stuff passing tea around and this and that. But the men and stuff in there basically all having sex with each other. And it's Muslims, man. And I'm talking about this stuff is recent. And I see, and when you go and watch the documentary about the Afghanistan dancing boys, I think I watched that in 2010 maybe. I don't know. It's been some years. But they would have like a whole, man, there would be hundreds of them in there, man. And they would have these boys dressed up like girl belly dancers, man, and have them dancing. And they would pay some of the parents to keep the boys for the weekend, man. This Muslims. And he said sometimes they would have to go in there. And he said that he called it a tree line. We would have to go in there and break the men up and get them off the tree line. And you know what a tree line is? Basically the same thing as when men running a train on a woman. And he was like, they had to go break them up and all this other type of stuff. But I've been hearing this type of stuff about Afghanistan for years. And I seen that documentary, but in my head it's like, they Muslim though, man. You know, and even not to keep talking about the thing that happened with the incident at Germantown. You know, for some people who on that side, it's hard for them to believe. But wallahi, it's really not no secret. But my whole point is, even when it was happening, in my head, I'm thinking to myself, you Salafi, you one of the top guys in this clique with them. At Germantown Masjid, why even have a nikah in there with the dude covered up and then take him there to Jumar and have him sitting on the sister's side? And wallahi, the sister told me, man, it would be sisters in there breastfeeding and everything, and dude would be sitting right in there with his niqab on. If that's what you gonna like, did you think, you know, you Salafi, you on the minhaj, did you think marrying him, a nikah in a masjid, was gonna make what y'all was doing permissible? You would have been better off doing it like how some of them other cats do, and y'all just went to Jumar together on the dude side. And then y'all could have just did what y'all was doing. But wallahi, in my head, I said, man, Allah exposed them. Y'all took them steps like that to be exposed. You could have just act like that was your homeboy, and y'all showed up at Jumar and sat next to each other in Jumar and prayed in Jumar. Why even had a nikah in there? Like it was gonna make what y'all was doing permissible. And that just goes to show, man, I'm telling you, man, these cats don't be understanding like they think they do. And wallahi, man, that's a true story. This ain't no rumors. They even had a video. Listen, wallahi, they went and filmed the dude at a store and at the park. Wallahi, I seen the guy in the video with the niqab on, and because he didn't have like no real expensive type shoes, his shoes was dumb fat. Wallahi, they filmed him inside of the store like, man, here dude is right here. And he had the niqab on and everything, and he was in the store looking at women clothes, man. Feet dumb big. You know what I'm saying? Sitting at the park. He didn't keep coming to the masjid no more. But then dude kept coming, and then I guess eventually after they heated up a little bit, they just started going to a different masjid. But they didn't plaster him. They didn't put, they didn't kick him all off the minhaj and all that. But like I'm saying, people just don't understand like they used to, man. And I'm telling y'all, man, I see it all day. Them Hebrew Israelites, man, be getting them in debates. And I sidetracked what I wanted to say from the Salaf with the Hadith. Umar used to sit with Christian and Jewish scholars. And they used to say something that sounded good to him, so he would write it down and carry it around like in his pocket. Like, man, this stuff kind of sounds like Islam, or this is something believable. And he took some of the stuff he wrote down to the Rasul and was reading it to him. And the Rasul advised him, tear that stuff up. You know what I'm saying? But Umar like, man, but it sounds good. And this is what the Rasul told him. You don't know what's in that book. You don't know what's true or what's false. You don't know what they changed and added. All of the Quran ain't revealed. You don't know what's true or false in there. And something that's in there that you listen to might get in your heart, because you don't know how Shaitan plays. Something might get in your heart. And then next thing you know, you might be just like the brother who's setting up debating with him and don't know how the knowledge to do so. And now you shooken to the core. Talking about you think you might be an apostate, but you a super Salafi, see? And now you sitting up shooken to the core, talking about you might be an apostate. And now another brother got to come in and do a refutation for you on the YouTube. And like you said, man, the reason why I'm doing it, man, because, this is something that's breaking his heart, man. We got to get it together, man. And like I say, man, like the Muslims, man, like, they just not what they used to be, man. They just, I see some coming along. I just seen the point, man, where it's just sad, man. I'm gonna say this because of a brother named, y'all might not know him, y'all might know a brother named, he go by the name he used to do poetry, but he used to call himself Saiful Haq. He the one who did the movie The Deen Over Dunya, right? Dude, real big guy, real heavy. You may see him in the movies and stuff, man, but like dude like Shaquille O'Neal height. Like dude like 7 foot 6'9", 6'8" or something like that, right? But he real heavy. So years ago, when in the MySpace days, like I said, we was in this group and somebody had posted one of his videos. He had a video called 30 Questions for the Muslimin, right? The Muslimun. And one of the questions, but he did it in a poem form. And I remember listening to it because he had a question in there. He was like, 30 days done went by and you missed every salat. I was like, ugh. So, I kind of started peeping him out. Because he wasn't only just a poet, but I started peeping him out. And then I seen he was Ash'ari. Right? So I was like, oh, okay, dude, Ash'ari. But I started checking him out. So basically, one of his guys had went to Germantown to try to talk that Ash'ari stuff to him. And them brothers at Germantown put belt on him. But this was early on. This was like when Dawood Adib was there. Alright? This was like around 2004. So this has been about 20 years ago. This was like 2003, 2004, something. So they put belt on him. So Saiful Haq. Now I'm listening to him tell the story. So then, but he's upset. So he gets a couple of other dudes, and because he big, so they go down there to holler at them about them putting hands on dude. But he got the camera. He's recording. All I'm gonna say is them Germantown cats got them up out of there, man. Okay? And they got them boys up out of there. So my point is, never in this day and time, I never thought that I would see the day that Salafis would start becoming Ashari. Never. You know what I'm saying? I know 3 sisters who done became Ashari. I'm telling you that I know. I know 3 sisters that done became Ashari. One of the sisters, her husband, I don't really know him too well. I know of him. But all together, I'm talking about from the Salafi side. Real talk. Man, I know like 5 brothers and 3 sisters, man, that done became Ashari. and serious about it. One of them actually is an imam for him. You know what I'm saying? And wallahi, I done had conversations with him. Wallahi, Allah, wallahi. I done had conversations with him about that stuff, man. And it was certain stuff that I pointed out to him, because you leaving Salafiyah. But the thing was, I didn't even know he had left Salafiyah, because I ain't out there like that. And he from Jersey. So in Jersey, boy, they kicking up dust around Jersey. They establishing masjids, getting fundraisers, getting buildings, right? They doing their thing in Jersey, Jack. So he in Jersey, and they it was a situation that I got involved in. But like I said, I didn't know he was Ashari. I thought he was still Salafi. So we was up there, and a brother had seen him who used to be his best friend. He was like, man, I ain't seen, wallahi, I had never heard anybody use this hadith like this before. He said, man, Ahmed, I ain't seen you in I ain't seen you in about 3-4 years, man. He was like, but now that I'm around you and I'm listening to you, your deen done left you as fast as a arrow going through his prey. And he was referring to the hadith about people gonna still look Muslim and all this and that, but they Islam gonna lead them as fast as an arrow goes through his prey. So now I'm looking at him like, I laugh. So I kind of chuckle like that was crazy. But I couldn't understand why he said it. But then he had became Ashari, and he was at this point, they was training him to be an imam. This was in 2016. Now, let me tell y'all, y'all might not know his name, but right now, at this point, 2024, 2025, he like they Tahir. He like they Hassan Somali. He like they Abu Khadija. Yeah. How some of them cats view Abu Khadija and Hassan Somali and Maghribi and all them, he wanted them for the Asheries. And I was like, and wallahi, man, wallahi, I was having a conversation with him, and I basically stomped him with that Asheri stuff. And you know what he told me? Man, at this point, man, it just is what it is. And I'm going to respect that. I can't do nothing but respect it. You know what I'm saying? Wallahi. I had a serious conversation with him. You know what I'm saying? Because they basically was on one of the Salafis, man. And even though I don't even care for that Salafi, I didn't like how they was doing him. So I intervened. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, he like one of they Tahirs right now. And I never thought I would see the day that Salafis would start becoming Ashari. Know what I'm saying? Wallahi, 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 I done had to get sisters out of marriages with them dudes. Because they tricked them into marriage, man, without telling them they was Ashari and all this other stuff, man. Wallahi, man. Them cats cutting up, man. Salafi sisters. And I'm sitting up saying, because this is one thing about sisters, man. You be a wakil for them, and then you tell them, hey, you know, it ain't a good idea for you to marry that cat. They just gonna go find somebody else to do it. Okay, cool. They'll feel a little way about you. You know what I'm saying? Get mad at you and do a little lash out thing. Then next thing you know, they go find somebody else to do it. Then next thing you know, they calling me 3, 4, 5 months later. You gonna be mad at me? Like, yeah, you found somebody to marry you to do it, didn't you? I told you he was Ashari. Well, he told me he wasn't. Of course he was gonna tell you. Look, I even had to take one of them. I said, look at this. Let's just go through his Facebook page. You didn't ever look at his Facebook page? Look at all these Asheries. Look at this Ashari stuff he's on. Oh, I never thought to look. Yeah, because you thought it was $1 and a dream attached. So you didn't care. All you saw was $1 and a dream. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, wallahi, man, I had to intervene. The marriage, this, that, you done deceived the sister. And because of the person who she couldn't go find nobody, so he found somebody for her to be the wakil. That was one of his guys. So he won't have dude grant the cooler. So she's stuck. But you Salafi. You the best to walk this planet. Nobody know nothing but y'all. Like, man, y'all forgive me, man. I ain't want to get into all that. So this the hadith, man. You know what I'm saying? And when you go look into it, especially the Arabic, Aisha ain't referring to the stuff that y'all say. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, it's a lot of stuff out there. I ain't never seen the Rasul or the companions or any of them say any of that stuff that y'all say. Allah can't hear sound. He hears without sounds. All this stuff that nobody ever even said about Allah having human ears and any of this. Nobody ever put none of that stuff on them anyway. Y'all just do it because people won't change the meaning. But man, that's the last time, man. I'm through talking about that stuff, man. That's enough. I feed into it for a little bit because I want the new shahadas to see it. You know what I'm saying? I be wanting them to see it, man, and I really be wanting them to get out there a little bit more and be able to mingle with people outside of their cities, man, and pay real close attention, man, because it's goofy, man. Anyway, man, assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.